You are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So the bags are packed. I'm ready to roll. I'm doing this pod during the day. I'm day podding. And just like day drinking, it's fucking way better. My mind is so much clearer in the afternoon than it is after like 6 o'clock. It's unbelievable the difference, really. You won't be able to tell because I'm a fucking professional, but I can tell. It's a fucking battle after 6 o'clock. So heading to the airport in a couple of hours, flying into Delhi, get into Delhi around 9 p.m., stay the night in Delhi, and then first thing in the morning, flying to Himachal Pradesh, the Himalayas. Finally, I'll be in the land of the Buddha. I feel like I might have a spiritual enlightenment while I'm there. Especially if I can get my hands on that fucking DMT, honey. That fucking DMT, honey. The only problem is I fucking forgot that it's the Himalayas and it's going to be snowing and cold and shit there. And I've got one jacket. I've got one jacket, a couple of shirts, and about 5 pairs of Levi's to get me through the Himalayas. But fuck it, I'll buy shit there. Or I'll just pay a Sherpa to hug me. They've been out of work for a little while. I'll just get 5 of them to huddle around me. But fuck, I've been looking forward to this for so long now. It's actually been 5 years in the making, this trip. I first wanted to go when I was watching Australia versus India in the cricket, and they were playing a game in Himachal Pradesh, the world's highest cricket ground, and they would pan back with the camera, and you would see the Himalayas in the background of this fucking cricket ground. And I'm like, where the fuck is that? I want to go there. That was when my son was like 6 months old. I'm like, I need to go there. And then for whatever reason, there was just hurdle after hurdle from me and the Himalayas. Like Buddha himself was preventing me from getting there. Fuck, I'm not there yet. I don't want to jinx it. I'm not even fucking out of Bangalore yet. These flights could still get cancelled. Anything could happen. So I'm not going to fucking jinx it. I'm not talking about it anymore. But I've got some gigs hooked up there too. I'm going to be doing stand-up in the Himalayas. That's fucking wild. A comedian I know from Bangalore. I met him last time I was in India. I did a few shows with him. But when COVID-19 hit big here, that second wave, he just bailed to Himachal Pradesh just to write it out because all his work's done on the computer, so he can fucking work anywhere. And he's just been bouncing from hostel to hostel for like the last 6 months. And that's where he's setting up shows, in these big fucking hostels. And he's getting crowds too. So I'm going to bounce around and do a few shows with him. I don't have no fucking idea how these shows are going to go. But I'm going to run in my new show, Stranded, in the Himalayas. It's so fucking stupid. I honestly have no fucking idea what the fuck these gigs are going to be like. He said the crowds are good, but I don't know what the Himalayan crowd's like. If they don't understand my accent here, how the fuck are they going to understand it in like India, China? They look Chinese up north. Like, this is how it works in India. Down south, everyone's a little bit darker, it's hotter, the sun's out. Then you go up north a little bit, like around Delhi and all that, they sort of look a little bit Arab because the fucking Mughals invaded and took over for like 9 centuries. So they all look a little bit Arab. And then you go further north, it's more northeast, and they fucking look Chinese. And when I say Chinese, obviously I just mean Asian. It's a little bit like Russia. You'll be watching the Olympics and they'll be like, Russia just won the gold in fucking wrestling. And the guy standing on the podium looks Chinese. You're like, fuck, I thought the Russians won. And they're like, yeah, he is Russian. He just looks Chinese. He's from the Asian part of Russia. Because Russia covers like half the fucking world. It's kind of like Australia as well. Like, you'll be out in the suburbs, especially around the beach. You'll be like, oh, fuck, everyone here is Australian. And then you move closer to the city and you're like, fuck, everyone here looks Chinese. And then you pass through the city and you start heading west and you're like, oh, they're starting to look Australian again, like real bogany. And if you keep going further through the west, the people will eventually start looking Indian. That's what happens. Indians will just buy a big block of land in the middle of nowhere and just hang in there for 30 years until their property becomes like the center of a new city. Anyway, it's the start of a new week and it is Ask Boyle time. If you have a question you want answered by one of the greatest minds of your generation or any generation, send it through. send it to my email, boylecomedy@gmail.com. Hit me up on the Patreon, send it through there. Skip the line, the links to my Patreon are in my social media bios. Or just message me and I'll send you the link myself. Anyway, this week's hypothetical was sent in by fucking Sully. Fucking Sully out there in Ontario, Canada. And Sully's question is this. Is there an earlier point in your life, without affecting who you are now, that you would go back to tell yourself to quit drinking for good, that you feel would have gotten you to where you are now sooner, or are you grateful for the whole journey? Well, Sully, you have come to the right place. It's really hard to go back and change the past without breaking the chain of events that leads you to now. And if you're relatively happy with who you are now, why would you go back and change anything? The good thing is I'm not fucking happy with who I am now, and I would change a lot of the past. When I look back, pretty much all the drinking I did after 30 was pointless. It was pretty much all damage after 30. Like physically, mentally, emotionally, I gained very little for any drinking I did after 30. I maybe had a dozen memorable times on the drink after 30. And to be honest with you, I would be stretching to make a dozen. So that's around like 5 years of pointless fucking drinking. If I stopped before I was 30, I'd still have my wife, still have my kids. I'd be a lot further down the road with my personal development, I think. I don't know. It's so hard to fucking tell. I was also a fucking idiot then too. I'm still a fucking idiot, but I don't think I gained many insights during that period from like 29 to when I quit. I had all my insights previous to that. But still, if someone said to me you could go back in time and change something, I wouldn't, because you just don't know how the fucking chain of events are linked. Like what caused what caused what caused what caused what caused what to end up here. So if you change something, anything, you're going to end up in a completely different place. And I'm heading to the fucking Himalayas tomorrow morning, and that's where I want to be. So really, as much as I would want to change like a million things I've done in my life, I wouldn't go back and change it. I hope I answered your question. That's it for tonight. I'll speak to you tomorrow when I'm in the fucking Himalayas. If you're enjoying the podcast, share it around with your friends, and I'll see ya the fuck later.